Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Cris Carter is one of the greatest NFL wide receivers of all time. To prove it, he's in the Hall of Fame. But as a person, man, I'm looking at Cris sideways. Oh boy, I hate to do this one. Cris, come on, man. Come on, bro. Cris Carter fixed his mouth to say the number one thing that did not happen was there was not a collusion with NFL owners in regards to Shedeur Sanders slipping from a top pick to pick number 144 in the 2025 NFL draft. Come on, man. Come on. Family, I know some of y'all saying, well, you know, he's right, man. I mean, he called it. Family, let me explain something to you. Everything ain't for public consumption. Even if he thought that way, he shouldn't have opened his mouth to say that in a public forum. That's right, I said it. Come on, man. There's a thing called discretion. Cris Carter being one of the elders, he should know better. Look, man, Cris can't try to fake the funk and act like there isn't a major race issue in the NFL as it is in America overall. He knows it's out there. See, a lot of people know it's out there. But rather than confront it, rather than talk about it, they try to act like it don't exist. They try to be in denial. Some people do it to assimilate, to be accepted. You know, they want to be accepted, so they're going to always take the other side. Others do it just because they try to avoid any type of conflict. They go out of their way. And if somebody else is doing something that could possibly bring some type of angst toward their way, then they're going to take exception to that. I wrote down some of the comments that he made, man, and I kept listening. I was like, where's the turning point and where's all this coming from? Okay, I know you're an analyst. I got it. You're an NFL analyst. You've been a pro for over a decade. You know, you did your thing. Boy, I used to love it when he played for the Minneapolis, what was it? What's it called? Minneapolis Vikings. Yeah, Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, I used to love watching him play. He is, without a doubt, one of the greatest to play the game. Fearless. And wasn't even a big old dude, you know, but he was fearless and effective. But man, this really disappointed me about Cris. Cris called it a problem that Shedeur Sanders calls himself legendary. I wrote these down because I wanted to make sure I didn't misquote him. He said it was a problem that Shedeur calls himself legendary. How is that a problem? People call themselves bitches and hoes. You ain't got no problem with that. People call themselves the N-word. Okay, the man calls himself legend. He's a legend. In his mind, he's legendary. The things that he does is legendary. The things that he does, you can say, well, you know, you got to let time go by before. Nah, he claiming it. He's speaking it into existence. What's wrong with that? T.I. called himself the king of the South on his first album. I'm the king of the South. Damn everybody else who put work in before him and all that stuff. I'm the king of the South. I remember when he first did that, and a reporter asked me, how did I feel about that? And I said, well, if that's how he feels, that's how he feels. Hell, I think I'm the king of the South. What do you think I'm supposed to? How do you think I'm supposed to feel? Yeah, I don't have a problem with the youngster calling himself legendary, because it's not just about what he's accomplished so far. It's a way of life. You know, he come from a legendary daddy, you know, whole family. You know, they got that mindset. We are doing things on a legendary level. Now, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, that's up to you. But as far as Shedeur is concerned, he's a legend. I ain't got no problem with that. He also said that this whole thing with Dion and the media hurt him. So how is it that Dion and the media helped him get the attention and garner all of the action and accolades, but now it hinders him because he's now in the NFL? See, this is what they like black fathers to do. They want you to prepare your child. They want you to put in all the hard work. They want you to go to all of the little league games. They want you to go back and forth. They want you to train them. They want you to get their mind right. They want you to work them. They want you to go through all of the arguments. They want you to listen to all of the problems. They want you to go to the clinic. You know, if something happens and they get an injury, they want you to patch it up. They want you to feed them, clothe them, house them, get them ready for the NFL. And then once they get to the NFL, okay, turn them over to us. And then we got it from here. Hell no. Hell no. Not turning my child over to you. Archie Manning didn't turn his child over to you. I just watched a clip of Archie and Eli Manning talking about they didn't want to go to the San Diego Chargers because he wanted to go to the New York Giants. He wanted to be drafted to the Giants. And guess what happened? He got his way. The Chargers drafted him and then traded him to the Giants. Nobody said nothing. They thought it was brilliant. They thought it was so smart, and the father is backing his son, and the son is listening to the daddy, and they're following the plan. Chris Carter didn't have anything to say about that. And a whole lot of these other pundits, they said nothing. A whole lot of fans said nothing. But now they got a problem because it's Shedeur. And Dion faced some of the same criticism because they said Dion was too flashy, he was too arrogant, he was this, he was that, he was that. And all Dion did just kept showing up. Showing up, showing out. They said the same thing about Allen Iverson. All Allen Iverson did was just kept showing up and showing out. I would really hate if Chris Carter was in one of those gatekeeping positions and the next Allen Iverson came through the door. I think Chris Carter would make Allen Iverson's life a living hell. I'm glad he's not in any gatekeeping position to make a call on Shedeur Sanders, because from the way that he talks, he sounds like he has a personal grudge against the Sanders family. I mean, he just seemed very angry explaining himself. Something else that he said. They taught Shedeur a great lesson. That's what he said. The lesson was, he ain't running That's what Chris said. He ain't running Family, y'all know the tone, the texture of a person's voice, you know, the pitch, and you can kind of tell what a person means and, you know, where that's coming from. Yeah, that dude got a personal problem with the Sanders family. It's personal. Look, fam, I'm not a flashy dude. But when I see a dude that is flashy and it works for him, I ain't got no problem with that, man. Man, do your thing. We're not all the same. I don't want to see 1,000 dudes acting just like me, looking just like me. I think what's the beauty of this world that we live in is that each and every one of us are unique. And each and every one of us have an opportunity and a chance every day to carve our own path, to go our own way. We don't have to listen to anything anybody says. We don't have to regurgitate any cliches, any slogans, anything that we see on social media. We can decide to totally reject all of that. We don't have to see everybody else twerking and start twerking. We don't have to see everybody else, listen to everybody else say, I feel like, and start saying, I feel like, using I feel like as a default to fill space. I feel like. I'm so sick and tired of hearing people say that, especially men. Well, you know, I feel like, I feel like, man, don't be feeling like that. Man, they're not supposed to be so emotional what we feel like. We know what it is. We're trying to get an understanding, but all that feeling stuff, nah. So Chris was being interviewed by this white guy, and the white guy asked, well, who is they? And then it caught him off guard. He was like, they, the system, the system, you know who they is. He's supposed to go ahead on and say it. The white guys who running the show, that's who they are. I be seeing people on social media talking about when somebody say they, you know who the hell they are. They are you. And a lot of times they are you. He said, you don't have this figured out. Your dad don't have this figured out. See, that all sounds personal to me. That sounds personal. And I bet you if you do a little digging, it goes all the way back for a few decades. He got an issue with Deion Sanders. That's my belief. Chris Carter, man, like, I've always liked the way he carried himself. But it looks like he's doing a little tap dancing since he's been giving his takes on football as an analyst. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Shedeur, Shiloh, keep on keeping on. What you're doing is legendary. No more talk.